Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. My name is Tracie Collins and welcome to my channel. Here is where I discuss all things business, travel, and Mexico. I share my life with you, my transition to Mexico, but today we're going to be talking about business, which is one of my favorite things in the world. I love helping entrepreneurs build their businesses, CEOs strategize and structure their infrastructure and marketing and understanding the game as it pertains to building within their industry. And today we are going to be talking money. We are going to be talking investment strategies for entrepreneurs. And I'm so happy to have my friend Dee with us, who is passionate about investing and how she got started, why she got started, and how she feels that entrepreneurs can better up their game financially, financial strategies to help them build wealth over time, to not just rely on one stream of revenue when it comes to generating revenue from your businesses. So Dee, thank you so much for joining.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So tell me, like, how did you get started in investing? Like, I have your bio listed below, and you guys can check out the description. But like, what was your reason, and how has it served you?
Wow. Okay. Honestly, there was no reason to begin with. I got tricked into it, to be honest. I started back. I used to work for AT&T for 30 years. I retired from there in 2019, and the first job that I had with them, I was a 411 operator, right? And I started with very low money, $222 a week. And I remember once the union steward comes over to me, she lays down a index card and says, sign it. And I was like, what is it? She said, sign it. What is it? Sign it. I signed it. And she walked away, she grabbed the card and said, you're in the 401k. That's how I ended up in starting to invest, right? So again, I didn't go into it with full knowledge of what was supposed to happen, what was going to happen, any of that. But after a few months, money started coming out of my check, and I'd look at it and it started going up. And I said, well, wait a minute now. I only put this much in, but it's growing. That is what interested me, right? I did not come from a background where any of this was taught. We didn't talk about money much, and if we did, we talked about the lack of it, right? So I didn't have anyone to kind of teach me how to invest, how to save, any of those things. What really did it was me seeing the effects of me putting money away every 2 weeks, and that it was growing, and eventually it was going to help me out. So that's really how I started. After that, I just wanted to know more about it and started getting into mutual funds outside of my 401k. And, my knowledge grew. As my career went on, and by the way, I was only a 411 operator for 6 months. So then as I made more money, then more contributions were coming out of my check. That made my money grow even further, right? Luckily, I was with a company that had a company match of 80%. So, I had an 80% gain out the gate, and then at the time the company was doing well. So that helped my stock grow, as well as the funds that I had within my 401k. As my career went on, I got a little more savvy about money. The more you learn about money, the more ways you find out there's more ways to make money, right? And so that is what really catapulted me onto my own journey. From there, anything I'd read, look at Susie Orman, right? I kind of made a joke with my friends that I was the Susie Orman of our group, of our neighborhoods, right? And so I could walk down the street and I'll give out information to anybody who's willing to listen, only because I want to see us doing better financially. And we just have not been taught how to invest, how to save, any of those things. And if I've got the knowledge, I'm willing to share that, right? So that's really how it started for me. I don't know if that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. So I'm going to fast forward. And one of the things that I should have said in the beginning was Dee and I have both relocated for for the most
Yeah.
part. You know, have both relocated and we're both in Mexico. We're both in two different parts of Mexico. So can you share how your investments over time, and you also have real estate investments, have served your life now and how it has helped to support you abroad?
Okay, so I'll be honest, my real estate investments have really been the thing to grow much faster and in a much larger way than my 401k and any of my paper investments, right? But that did not come without a lot of hard work, right? Because I was not one of these people that bought property and then handed it off to a property manager. I directly managed my properties. And now we've got something called house hacking. I didn't realize I was house hacking before that was even a thing, right? So I started with my first property when I was 25, right? I only rented an apartment for 1 year and I didn't really like paying rent. I got to do this every month. I didn't like it, right? So I bought my first property and the plan was for me to buy one every 2 years. That didn't work. My next property came 10 years later, but then after that, I slowly built up my portfolio and, you know, I bought in areas that were, they gentrified is what happened, right? And so that kind of blew the value up. Now, because I had rental properties and one of the properties, my first property, I lived on one floor. I was able to take care of my mother on another floor, and I had a tenant in another unit. That allowed me not to use any of my paycheck, right? And so because I had freed up money, you know, good cash flow, I could throw that into my paper investments. 25 years, no, that's wrong. 26 years later, I sell my first property for a nice gain, right? So over the years, the free cash flow that I had coming in from that rental property, the money that I freed up from my paychecks, that all went into investments. It just did. I don't believe in putting my money into things that don't grow in value. I don't knock anyone else for it, but it's just been the thing for me that worked for me. Over the years, I've sold off. Some of them were quick flips, right? So that was just quick money to grab and go. But the ones that I held the longer amount of time, those are the things that actually allowed me to be able to, one, move from my home state of Illinois. I moved to Georgia, and that was actually the first time I actually lived in a house. You know, before I was living in apartments, right? After that, as I started to, you know, meet new people, gain new knowledge, I started to figure out there were other ways for me to invest my money. And those are the things that allowed me to, one, figure out that I don't have to live in the US. I didn't have to, right? I left the Midwest because it was cold and there was snow, done with it. Moved to Georgia, nice weather, good people. Problem is, it's still the US. So, you know, the US politics got to a point where I was kind of done with that, wanted to try something else. And I started my little journey here in Mexico as a quick take a look just to see what it was going to be like. And as I got here, I said I'd stay a couple months. I'm here, I'm in my 13th month now, right? And it doesn't look like I'm going back anytime soon. I miss the people, but things here just have been better for me. I mean, food's better. I've dropped weight. My health has gotten better. My finances are better because I'm not paying what I would be paying in the US. When I go back for visits to the US, I am actually sticker shocked in a reverse way, right? I went back to Atlanta last month and the prices, I don't understand how people are actually making it. I really don't. The fact that they are, or if they're struggling through it, I'm sorry that they're doing it. There's other options, right? But you got to build yourself up to the point where you can figure out what those options are and have your life and the things you're doing with your money pay for those other options. That's what it's been for me.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that journey. I'm a firm believer in we always have a choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Always have a choice, you know, and I think people have grown up thinking you did not have a choice. You just had to take the circumstances at hand given to you, whatever life dealt. Things are a choice, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And you can choose better and differently for yourself. So let's talk. First of all, what I'm hearing is you started young, you were able to diversify your investments, and in your diversification over time, it has served you well financially.
Yes.
You definitely believe in less things, so not being a person of consumption of things, but being more of, if I'm going to buy something, it is going to be an investment that is going to serve me well.
Yeah.
Did I sum that up?
You got it right. Yeah. You got it right.
So one of the things that I like to highlight on my channel are people who have created businesses abroad. And I know you are, and we'll talk about that later. And I know you're kind of delving into that, but it definitely highlighting Black women entrepreneurs who have moved and left the US and who are starting businesses abroad. But let's talk about financial strategies for entrepreneurs and what you're seeing today that makes you so passionate about Black people in particular being in better financial positions.
Wow. Black people in particular, huh? So, as you know, I just told you, I worked for a company for 30 years. So really, I had it handed to me, to be honest, right? Entrepreneurs have to be a little more diligent about it, and you've got to be purposeful, right? No one is going to set up anything for yourself. Now, you already have the ability to decide you have a talent or you could provide a service better than anybody else, and you made the choice and the steps to do that. So if you can do that, you can go the next step, and plan for your own retirement because you don't have a company in place that'll do it. I'm going to give you an example. A long time ago, I used to get my hair done, not before I had locks, I get my hair done all the time. And my hairstylist, she'd make a lot of money, cash every day, doing 6-7 heads a day, right? So she's literally walking around with $600-700, in her pocket in a day. Well, that money will leak out if there's nothing in place for you to save your money, right? So if she left the shop, she'd go to dinner, go to Walgreens, go do this, and by the end of the day, she doesn't have $700 anymore, right? Well, that's because there were no things in place. You guys now have something in place. So now, if I want to book a hairstylist, there are apps that allow me to pay first before I even get to that person. Now, I hope that's...
Side note, one of the creators of Style Seat was a potential client of mine.
Oh, wow, cool.
No, she was the creator, the owner, the CEO.
Oh, wow.
She launched out. Yeah.
Very nice.
And one of my previous clients, sorry to cut you off, but it just made me
No, you're fine.
But these were both women. The leading baby formula organic company now, I remember when they launched it, was a previous client of mine twice.
Wow. All right. So you're producing them, huh? I love that. I'm next. I'm next. So I don't know how that all works, but I hope that it is taking money in for them, putting it in an account, right? Now, what folks need to do from there is you got to direct your money, right? If you're getting all this money, you've amassed a bunch of money, but you're not taking money and putting some aside for your taxes, taking some aside and putting it for an emergency fund. Next, taking some and putting it aside for your retirement, right? Because at some point, hands are gonna hurt, back is gonna hurt. You've got to put things in place for yourself because the safety nets that are created from a company that would employ me, they're gonna pay for my insurance, or put it aside for my insurance, arrange for my medical insurance, arrange for my savings, all those things. You've got to put those things in place, right? The tools are out there for you to do it, right? If you guys are not already, there are at least 6, maybe 7 things that you can put in place, right? So what's available to you is like a Roth IRA, right? You can do $6,500 per year. But if you're over 50, you can do catch-up funds, an additional 1,000. That'll allow you to put away 7,500. You could do a traditional IRA. Same, that's not true. You can do a traditional IRA, but the contribution limits are different. You can do up to $22,500 for that one. And if you're over 50, you can do catch-up funds of 7,500. There is a SEP IRA. There's a simple IRA, right? So if you have, there's a solo IRA. If you are one person business, you can do a solo. Now, am I getting this confused? I think with the solo, you can also cover your spouse if they work with you. I don't know how that you say that, right? But it allows for, there are different plans. So whether you're just a few employees, just yourself as a freelancer, there's something for you. If you're a business owner and you've got up to 100 employees, there's something for you. Now, some of those plans, if you are an employer, you are the only person that's making a contribution to that plan. You will have to go and look those things up and see what's going to be a best fit for you. So again, I'm going to name some of them off. You got a Roth, that's an option. Traditional IRA, SEP, that is a simplified employee pension. There is a simple, oh boy, something plan. Anyway, it's a simple IRA. Then there is a solo 401k, right? And then if you want it, even for your healthcare, it's not a savings plan, but you can use it as one, is a HSA. Look those things up for yourself and see what is going to be a good fit for you. Now, if you don't have the things in place that take money for you up front so that people aren't canceling on you, people don't show up, right? Or you provide the service and they're not paying you your full amount. You'll have those things put aside, that money put aside for you to begin with. In the past, I know people that would literally stuff money into a shoebox. Shoeboxes don't give interest, okay? And you can't tell your shoebox to send some money to my 401k. If you have these things in place, you set it up where automatically out of your check goes money to your savings, goes money for your retirement, money for taxes, right? Because you don't want to be at the end of the year going, oh, Jesus, what am I going to do now, right? You don't want to have to be pooling that money together or scrimping for it. You've already saved for it. And once you've taken those monies out of your check, out of your, I don't want to say check, out of your payments, right? Then you live off of that. Now, for me, I'm not going out and, just using all my money. I'm just not going to do it. I come from a background where there was a scarcity of money. So I'm going to hold on to some money just in case. I always want to be prepared for the what ifs, right? And so you've got to think about what your what ifs are. Your what ifs can be your hands don't work as well. Your back doesn't feel good. Your knees, your feet aren't great. You can't do the same work, right? There could be a pandemic. There could be a bunch of things that happen where you need the money set aside for those what ifs, okay? And you don't ever, I say you, I'm going to say me. I don't ever want to be in a situation where I had a pot of money or I had the potential for all this money coming in, but I didn't do the right things for myself for later, right? I don't know what's going to happen later. I have no idea. I can get hit by a bus tomorrow and be down for 6 weeks. If I'm a W-2 worker and I get hit by a bus and I didn't get killed, right? They're going to pay me possibly for a while, right? I could go through disability or whatever. What's going to be your plan, right? You've got to be your own plan, period, right? If you have been smart enough, diligent enough to set up a business, figure out all the electronic things that could help you in your business, you can also go the step further and do this for yourself. Now, I hope that provided you the answer that you were looking for. Or
yeah, absolutely. I think that those are great steps, or for people to begin to explore. What
I know I didn't speak to one thing though.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. For Black people.
Oh, right.
There is a huge wealth gap. Huge, right? And I want to be a part of helping to close that gap, right? And I hope that you want to be a part of it. There are studies done every year where they take things. There's a thing they'll look at, a list of things to figure out what the wealth is of white people, brown people, Black people, right? And we are always at the bottom. And unfortunately, sometimes they use things that should not be included in the counting of wealth. They do that so that we're not negative, but quite often we're negative, right? Now, why are those reasons? Some of the reasons, in the past, I understand. Money was taken from us. Education was not given to us. Opportunities were not given to us. Things have changed, y'all. They have, right? But you have got to be the one to decide for yourself, for your family, that you want different, right? You've got to be the one to decide what's most important. I don't, if you ever see me walking down the street, you think I'm a homeless person, bum, something, right? But I promise you, my bank accounts are good. I promise you, my home life is good. I don't put money on my back very often, right? I don't buy things that depreciate in value. I don't buy things for other people to look at either. Now, I'm not knocking anyone else, but when it comes down to it, I need to be able to take care of my family, right? I need to be able to take care of myself. And the equalizer these days is not education. Well, I'm sorry. It's not degrees. It's not, I got this degree, this degree, this degree. Because you can have 12 degrees, but somebody's stupid nephew might get hired before you. That's with a job. Or somebody's stupid nephew might get the contract instead of you. So put things in place for yourself. Other people are putting things in place for themselves and their families. We've got to do the same thing.
I have myself on mute for two reasons. One, my office is right by a window and our street is made of cobblestone. So cars that come by can be kind of loud. Two is we had someone come and spray because, Mexico, there's a lot of, where we are is a lot of champalinas, which is grasshoppers and stuff. So and now I'm sneezing because of the spray. Anyway, okay. So thank you for explaining that and going into that. And what I hear too, so for me being an entrepreneur, one of the things is like, I've had 5 business bank accounts, you have your main pot that everything comes into, and then you allocate funds into. So for myself, it was like, here's the main pot. So that's one. There was 2 for taxes, which was state and federal.
Oh, wow.
Case. There was a payroll, and then the other one was, I think, a savings portion of that for the business. Okay. And so just making sure that your business is set up properly. So what Dee is talking about is making sure that your company is set up to where you pay yourself as an employee, and there's benefits to doing that. So in my particular case, I paid myself as an employee. All of the taxes funneled through from my business to my personal side. My business was tax-free and clear. My business owes 0 taxes. So with that being able to, you have to set up and structure your business correctly. So for people who are are watching this who are budding entrepreneurs, who are entrepreneurs, like if you want your business infrastructure set up properly, I'm the girl. But if you want like your financial allocation strategies, it would be like Dee who would come in and to help to support somebody like that. One of the things that I keep hearing you say, I'm listening in between the lines because that's one of my gifts, is you don't talk about financial planners outside of yourself. So meaning like you don't let anybody else handle your money other than you, because you are going to be the one to treat your money the best. Why do you feel that? Not knocking people who are financial planners, but why do you feel that that strategy is best served, and why has that worked best for you?
Okay, so I just want to make sure, I don't want anyone to misunderstand something. I am not a financial planner. I'm not a financial advisor. I used to work for the phone company, okay? But I've done the right things with my money. I've been to financial planners and advisors. So a few things. I don't mean any shade to anybody. I swear I don't. Financial planners and advisors, unless they are if they are fiduciaries or fee simple, they are selling things, right? And they get a commission for some of the things that they put you in, right? I have compared plans that they've given me versus what I've laid out for myself, and I outperform them, right? They also don't tend to be themselves financially set. That's just been my experience. The people that I've been to, I don't necessarily want a dollar air telling me how to become a millionaire. I just don't. I am going to take care of my money better than anybody else will, right? And I'm not going to charge myself a fee for it, right? I don't have to put myself into this fund because I'm going to get 20% off of it. Another thing I see, and this bothers me really badly because it happens in our communities often. And don't argue with me about this. You feel how you feel, I'm going to feel how I feel. Insurance is not an investment vehicle, period, right?
Why was that going to be my next question?
Hey. Unfortunately, I'm going back to W-2 workers. If you work for a nonprofit, you've got a 403B generally, right? 403Bs have a bunch of insurance products in it. And the way they promise you a certain gain is that they say, oh, you're going to get 7% on your money. Well, the fund made 22%, but they give you 7%. That's not how that goes. It's not for me, right? I understand that people buy insurance, these whole variable, all that. Yeah, not for me, not for me. Again, the person selling you that gets a commission off of it. So it is to their benefit that you buy the gold standard, right? It is to their benefit, whether it is a fund, whether it's an insurance product, whatever the case, they're getting a commission off. I want somebody that's going to look at my money and not just my money, look at me, look at my goals, my family, and the things that I need and what's going to fit best for me. I'm going to do that for myself. I don't know what other motives might be motivating someone else to direct my money. So I just always believe in self-directing my own investments. I always have. I'm sorry. For the larger part of my life, I have. Let's say that. There was a time when I used a planner and then went, yeah, I'm done with that. But I educated myself prior to. I don't just go out willy-nilly doing stuff. Speaking of willy-nilly, I know you didn't ask this, but when you guys have these apps that you can, I buy this, I'm going to buy this stock and this stock, and I'm going to buy one of those and two of those. Don't do that. Please don't do that. If you are not looking.
Talk to brokerage accounts too, as you're going in.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. Speak about the app. Speak about the apps and then go into like the brokerage accounts that you recommend.
All right. So I don't believe in people buying onesie twosies of anything. Your money has to be directed to something, has to be focused in on something, right? So when you're buying something because it's $5 or $6 or $2, if you're buying a stock and it's under $5, that is a penny stock. Penny stocks are not good investments. Usually they're very small companies and they're pump and dump strategies, pump and dump schemes, right? They'll pump this company up here. You guys go buy this, buy this, buy this. You just bought it and they just sold it. They're out. Those are not the companies that are going to last. You want companies, look through your house. I talk about this all the time. I'm not going to go into it. If you guys want, check out my channel. This stuff is there. But you want solid companies of companies that you actually use. You mentioned being a consumer and not putting money into things that I consume. I buy things I consume. I buy PepsiCo. PepsiCo. I didn't say Pepsi. I buy PepsiCo. That's the company, right? I buy Apple. I don't own an Apple product. I'm sorry, I own one. My friend gave me an Apple that does not work right now. But I don't buy Apple products. I'm not telling you not to buy Apple products. I'm telling you, if you've got a bunch of them, you need to own the company. Okay? If you look at your computer, you've got NVIDIA in your computer. If you got an Apple phone, all of these different things. These are the types of companies I'm talking about. I'm going to move on to brokerage accounts. Most of my monies are in Fidelity. Okay. Fidelity, Vanguard, and Schwab. Those are the big three. Those are the best brokerages for my taste, right? Because they have a bunch of educational classes on there that you can use to help educate yourself. Also, they have a bunch of people waiting for you to call them and ask them a ton of questions. Because if your money is there, they want to help you grow that money because it helps them as well. They're going to teach you how to do it. They're going to show you all the buttons to push. I promise you, right? And all of the information is there to you do your research. A couple of years ago, Robinhood became very, very popular. Now, Robinhood allowed people that did not have access to the stock market, they allowed them in, right? Robinhood is actually one of the top money makers of the brokerages because of the fees that you get charged, but you don't know it, right? If you trade or if you does it happen on the investment side? I think it does, right? You can't pay for things. I'm sorry. It will cost you more money to buy the same security in Robinhood than it would in Fidelity, Thinkorswim, those type of things, because there's a back end fee. You don't see the fee. They build it into the price of whatever you're purchasing, right? That's how they're getting folks. Robinhood is also one of these that let you get, I can get this and that. Well, you just spent a bunch of money on a bunch of piece of crap stocks. Buy companies that are worth something, that have been here years. Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, right? For you fellas out there, I don't know, is this mostly for women or you got fellas?
I mean, it's for anybody who's listening.
I tell you what, if all of you women who are buying your boys or girls Nikes, please buy them some Nike stock, right?
Also, like you talk a lot about dividends, and so I want you to do one on your channel about REITs because I have several REIT investments. Yeah. So just you can talk about REITs, but so I want to go just slightly into your day trading once we talk about REITs and then dividends, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. So the REITs, the dividends, and I'm a firm believer in what she says too, because when I look at the stocks that I've purchased, it's been like I have the long-standing companies. I have it's the brand, it's the company that owns the Louis Vuittons, come on, big name brands like Hennessy. Yeah, so I own stock in that company, not the little stuff. Sure. Starbucks, because you said Starbucks, I went and got some Starbucks stock.
Yeah, Starbucks is dividend players, right? So listen, by the way, I actually have a video coming out on REITs. I am editing.
Oh, good.
I do.
Good.
I literally have it done, but I'm doing the editing. It's coming out soon. Yeah, she spoke of me. I'm a dividend, for the most part now, because I'm retired, I'm a dividend growth investor, right? So I buy mostly companies, that's not true. I buy a lot of companies that pay out dividends. If you don't know what a dividend is, what it is when a company makes profits, a profitable, good, solid company, when they make profits, a portion of that, they can decide to put that money back into the business. But because if they're an established company, they don't really have to put it back into the business. They don't have to do research and development. Those type things. They will reward the shareholders and send you dividends. If you guys remember the game Monopoly, Monopoly is not a game. Monopoly is the blueprint for investing. I want you to go back and look at that game and think about what they asked you to do. They told you to buy property. They told you to buy real estate, right? And if you remember on the board, why does it always, anyway, on the board, boardwalk and park place, location, 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 right? That's where the money was. Not in Mediterranean and whatever the other ones were, right?
Baltic.
Right, yeah, that. It was in Park Place and what is the other one? What did I say?
Boardwalk.
Boardwalk, right? That's where the money was. So location, location, location. Real estate, that's your first thing. Buy property. What they tell you to do after that? They said put homes on those properties. Then after you put the homes, put a hotel on it, right? And then what do? You get rental income, right? They also told you to buy utilities, because guess what? Utilities ain't going nowhere. They can't because of us. We've got to use gas, light, phone. Okay? They told you also that the bank pays you dividends. Boom, that's it. The bank pays you dividends. It's not really the bank, if you own a bank company maybe, but it's the companies, right? It's Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Home Depot, Apple. Apple's not a big payer, but it is starting to be, right? They are growing their dividend. I get a raise for doing nothing. I promise you, there are people that have enough dividends coming in, it takes care of all of their living expenses. I know people, no lie, that make $80,000 to $100,000 per month in dividends. That's not from buying one of these, two of these, one of these. That's not from doing that. That's from buying solid companies, right? So what they'll do is they pay you dividends generally every quarter, right? So there's companies that pay annually, some that pay monthly, right? That's one of the REITs, right? If you've got realty income, they pay monthly. But they'll generally pay you every quarter. So if you've got 10 shares this quarter, they're gonna pay you for those 10 shares. Well, I reinvest my shares, right? I reinvest my money. Don't send me the money. I don't want it right now. When I get older, I'm gonna tell them to send me my money so I can live off of that. But right now, all I'm doing is building my position, building my share count. So I've got the 10. This quarter, they gave me 2. Now, that's not a realistic thing, but I'm gonna just say that. So now they gave me 2. So now I've got 12, right? Next quarter, they're gonna give me 3 on the 12, right? So now I got 15 shares. Turns into a snowball, right? And you get paid for every share that you own in that company, right? That is what those payments are dividends. And I am a dividend growth investor. You know, the 2, the 3, that's the growth in it, right? Now, while you're getting more shares and that company's stock is growing in value, you're getting paid 2 ways. It's growing in value, right? And then you're growing in shares. So they're paying you on top of paying you. That's the way you build wealth, right? Each month, last was September. I know this one because I just did a thing on it. I got paid 21 times. Y'all can send me money all you want to. I'm gonna take every one of them. Some people say, oh, it's just 13 cents. I'm not talking about mine, but I'm talking about people that start. Well, when they just start, it's just 13 cents. Girl, 13 cents turn into 15 cents, turn into 20 cents, turn into $1 at some point. Take all of that money.
So what I noticed too is I went back into into the account that I'm speaking about. And because I don't ask for a check, it was just the money was just sitting there. So those cent stuff and those dollar stuff and those smaller amounts, I turned back and I was like, oh, it was like a couple $100 in there after a while. And I said, I took it and I reinvested it.
There you go. Yeah. So again, if you got a 13-cent check, that will buy you a fractional share. Yeah. That fractional share eventually will build into a full share. That is how you build your portfolio, right? Yeah. I only started with 10 shares. Well, now you got 62. Okay, good job. That's the way you do that. Okay, so Dee does day trading too, you guys. So that's a whole long conversation and I don't want to keep her too long, but definitely explore her channel. Dee, please tell people, and it is linked in the description as well, but tell people where you are and how they can find you and learn more from you. Okay, so I've got a YouTube channel. It is Brown Girls Invest 2. I also TOO, thank you for that. Brown Girls Invest 2. I do day trade, but I'm going to say it. I don't want to teach anyone to day trade. If you day trade, I will tweak. If you book time with me, I will tweak your trading and make you a better trader. I will not teach you how to trade though. So don't come to me saying, teach me how. I'm not going to do that. It's too much of a long process and I'm not trying to have nobody lose no money under my name. I am also on Facebook under the same, no, I'm not. On Facebook, I am under Brown Girls Trade 2, right? And Instagram, Brown Girls Trade 2 as well. It's being switched over, but the main thing is Brown Girls Invest 2. Go ahead and watch some of my videos. If you guys are interested in investing and learning how, I've got the information there. And just come on, get you a little bit of education. I'm building the channel, so there's more to come. And so all of her socials are linked in the bottom, so be sure to follow her. You be sure to subscribe to her channel. And I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience and knowledge in the investment realm. And I look forward to, even though you kind of give me a little bit of pushback on this part, not pushing me back, but pushing yourself back, you growing this aspect of your business. Because what's going to happen is people are going to, book time with you. Even if you only book time for once a month, they're going to want to have somebody to kind of coach them or give them some strategy along the way. So thank you so much for joining us here. You can ready to say something? No, I was just gonna say, it is set up. There's a Calendly link on my YouTube page where they can book time with me if they want me to take a look at their investments or their trading. It's there. But yes, you're right. I am going to be growing it with your help. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. Dee, stay on just a little bit. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on this channel. And I hope you were able to learn something today. You can work with me for business infrastructure, helping you to grow your business or brand and scalability, making sure that you are maximizing the best out of you in your product and or service. And you can also book time with Dee for financial strategies to help grow your portfolio. Thank you. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Have a great one.